This is the Ninja's Way podcast, where we talk all things ninja industry, ranging from top-tier athletes to the local ninja entrepreneur. Listen to their journey to success as they conquer obstacles in ninja and in life. This is the Ninja's Way. Welcome back, everybody, to the Ninja's Way podcast. We have Karsten Williams on with us today. He is an American Ninja Warrior All-Star. He is an athlete. He is a ninja coach. He's an entrepreneur in the industry. He really checks all of the boxes. So we're going to be able to talk with him about his journey today. So Karsten, thanks so much for hopping on with us.
Hey, glad to be here, and thank you for that lovely introduction. That got me hyped up, so I'm ready.
Yes.
Nailed it.
Absolutely. Your journey, like watching you on social and now getting to connect with you, I feel pretty resonant with it, with all of these kind of different facets you've been able to get into with the ninja industry. Let's start with this. Tell me like what got you into ninja and why have you invested your time, your talents, your effort into this sport?
Yeah, so originally got into it just from being a big fan of the show, watching it, and I was always a competitor growing up, and so I was just looking at the show, and I was like, man, I really think I could do well on this thing, and just went online, put my name in the hat. Was fortunate to get a call back on my first attempt at applying, but I always climbed things as a kid and monkeyed around, so this was like right up my alley. I just didn't know if it was gonna take off the way I thought it would, or didn't really know how it was gonna play out, but thankfully it played out pretty well.
How long you been doing the ninja?
So I'll be flying out here. I'll be going for my 11th season on the main show. So like looking at over a decade now. And so I can't believe I'm saying that, but yeah, it's been a long time, man.
Yeah, you're an OG.
Yeah. Never thought I'd say that, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm OG status now. So I'm just going to own it.
You still look really good. So you don't look like you're an OG. So
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, Jay.
Ninja hasn't aged you too much. 11 years competing on the show American Ninja Warrior. What has that taught you?
Wow, it has taught me a lot. Really, biggest thing, how to really just have tough skin, because like this journey of competing, and whether it's on the business side, it's ups and downs and lefts and rights and road into here type of thing on there. But yeah, no, really just I learned a lot of how to just overcome obstacles, being able to adjust on the fly, and really work with people as well of all different walks of life. And so I'm really thankful for just all the different tools and like skills and just different qualities it's given me over the years that I can now apply and just share with the kids that I coach and use it towards the business that I'm building as well.
absolutely. So when you started, was there a gym to train at, or what did you do for training?
That's a great question. So like first season, really like first 2 seasons didn't have any local gym in the area, in the Dallas area. And so I was a personal trainer at the time, and I would just recreate some stuff in the gym using like Bosu balls and boxes and stuff like that, just different pull-up bar setups. And so that was a little bit interesting, obviously underneath staircases, like outside for the devil steps. But
Devil steps, yeah.
yep. So it was a patchwork for the first couple seasons. Didn't really have too much obstacle experience until after the first season, ended up connecting with like Sam Sand over at Iron Sports at the time. And that's where I got into some like actual obstacles, and that really helped out.
So in the world of ninja, failure is just a stepping stone to success. So can you share a moment where failure has maybe helped you as a coach and as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I learned about failure early on in my career. First time on the show, first obstacle, it was the simple quintuple steps at the time, and it was a huge failure on that. And that was really tough, like just taking that slice of humble pie early. But I'm thankful that it happened early, so I can go ahead and just get that out the way and just learn more respect for the course and just the bigger picture. And so with that, obviously kids I coach, they go through the same stuff, failure, just having shortcomings on the course. And so I'm able to immediately sit and just say, hey, like you're already doing better than me. Like I fell on the first obstacle, so you can only go up from here. So take it from me. Look how I turned out. So it's good to have that in my back pocket for when the kids or anybody else that I engage with is sharing some, whether it's disbelief in themselves or just maybe they're down after a bad run. I can always encourage them with that right there. So I'm glad that happened to me. Wasn't pleasant, but it was all worthwhile.
Yeah, let's talk about that a second. So that happens. That was your first time, right?
Yeah, first time on that.
And our viewers or people familiar in ninja, they're like, no way you can't screw up that one. But like, how do you no, it
Yep.
looks easy till you're out there, but and I've never actually been on the show out there testing or looking at it. Okay, that's a little different game, but how do you overcome that? Like when that happens, are you thinking I'm gonna try I want to keep trying this or what's going through your head?
Yeah, that was interesting because after that first season failure, I was doubting whether or not if this was for me. But fortunately, I had a good supporting system. Like my mom was obviously she's all over the show. She's like my biggest supporter, and she was, "Hey, we got to really get back out there and try it again, just to make sure you can either confirm whether you are maybe not meant for it, or you can confirm that, hey, I just need a second shot." And so I did that, and really went well the second time on the course, which was actually in Dallas, was like in my backyard. Things went pretty well on those. I finished both courses, the qualifier and the city finals. And after that, they really like let me know, like, all right, I just had a bad run, but things can go up from here.
And as also being an athlete, you are very much an entrepreneur in this space. You got your hands in chalk and you got your hands in mobile ninja courses. And so just tell me a little bit about what got you into wanting to be an entrepreneur in this space and what are you up to currently?
Yeah, through the years of just training in different facilities and like really just having the personal training background, I always liked working with people, but it was more in like the gym and the fitness setting. And then when the Ninja Warrior stuff took off, I had kids coming up asking me about it, wanting to train with me. And so when I started partnering up with some different gyms in the area and started their classes and started doing that. I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't like a permanent situation for me. It's just a temporary kind of contract type of thing, and then really just seeing the opportunity to do something on my own. Hey, you start looking at places like, what would I do differently if I had my own facility? And I've always had that free spirit, entrepreneurial spirit. And so I set out to really start that process about 8 years ago. I just didn't really have all the resources, and the landscape was much different back then. And so I just wanted to really have something that I could really create, being like the main guy in Dallas, as far as Ninja is concerned at the time. I felt it was really just needed to have someone at the helm that knew the sport, knew how to coach people, and really just be able to produce something that was unique and different that I could really be behind. And that's where it all started. And it's been definitely a journey going through that part because it didn't pan out for me at that time to open up my own facility. And then I got some other opportunities that came to me where I was able to lead a thriving ninja community and a facility in the area. And so the kind of that checked the boxes for the meantime, but ultimately I needed to be in my own facility to really preach my own gospel and really just make an impact.
Absolutely. So the Ninja Project there, is that your brand?
Yeah, so I started that brand. So I was working with a big ninja company from about 2018 to 2022. Once we moved our separate ways, I created Ninja Project. And so that's the basically the new brand that I can have ownership over. And we started off with the mobile course operation. So we love bringing the course to the community, letting people get on it. As far as there's not many gyms in the area, so it's easy to get it out to people and get them access to the course. And then the big vision is to get into a huge state of the art facility that's going to offer entertainment, cafe, obstacles, and just movement in general, and really just have a huge space that we can cater to a broad audience, not just the ninja, but anyone that just wants to move. And our goal is to connect, create, and celebrate. That's what Ninja Project is all about.
It sounds like you've had relationships with other gyms, you've worked in other gyms, and you're like, ah, but it's just not mine. It's like you said, I can't go out and preach my own gospel. So, what do you feel like you can uniquely bring to the market that maybe these other facilities weren't quite hitting the mark, or what makes it uniquely you?
The first thing, obviously, being on the show and having that experience of being on a production and being in front of a lot of people, competing on like big obstacles. So like number one, just having that experience of the show, but then also with my coaching background and fitness background as well, working with kids and really traveling all over the country to see different facilities and see how they run things. I've been able to really pick up all the kind of the nuggets, if you will, from these different places, and I can apply them to something that I can kind of engineer and construct. And also, I've been fortunate to have a good team of coaches that I work with as well. And I think just with that unique blend of just the experience, I work with kids and like how to interact with kids, how to motivate them, how to challenge them, I think really provides a unique skill set that you can't really find anywhere else. Obviously, there's a lot of great coaches out there, but for this Dallas area and what I'm doing separates me from any other kind of entity out there, which I'm excited about.
So I do have a question around you're talking about. I picked up a nugget or two along the way of what other facilities do and things that you can do inside the class help motivate kids. What are some of those nuggets? How are you getting kids motivated? How are you getting kids to have a spark for Ninja?
Yeah, really, it's just the first thing I would say is just taking the time to get to know the kids. A lot of times, really, people receive information differently, whether it's like some kids like to be challenged, just, hey, like you need to step your game up and like get this obstacle, or you're not going to be the top ninja. Some people need to be motivated that way, or it's, hey, maybe they're new to the sport, haven't done anything athletically. It's, hey, man, like it's your first time. Being able to really relate and meet them where they're at their level in the sport or fitness, and being able to obviously communicate with parents and get feedback from them. And what I loved about just the different places that I've seen over the course of the years is there are different setups, like how they run their classes, whether it's they have different like zones they rotate in. Some places are just almost like class only, no open gym. Some places are heavy on the birthday parties. And I've been around all of those places there. And so I think there's a kind of a good fit that all those things can apply. Overall, just really seeing how people are setting up their gyms, the kind of coaches that they're bringing on, and just their overall like vision for the sport. And I think really says a lot of how successful the gym will be. You can really tell the ones that are dedicated to moving the sport along. Like you've done great work. I'm very impressed with what you've done, Ali, with like your programs and like really helping gyms really be successful from the economic standpoint, so they can be around and they can keep growing and we can create more access to the sport. So like you would be one of those nuggets that I've picked up on just from watching from afar. And then obviously Jake has built a huge brand with Conquer, and you're really getting all these facilities out there. He's recently opened up one here in my part of town with Derek. And so I really like what the collective, as far as just the people behind Ninja, are really doing. And so thank you for what y'all are doing.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to add to it.
No, absolutely. The funny story with that is, and I've known you from like online on Facebook and whatnot. I'm there building that gym out, got my tool belt on, and we weren't open yet. And here this dude rolls in, and it's Karsten. Hey, don't I know you? He's, hey, yeah, I think I know you. That was just funny. First ninja that walks in was the pro ninja, so it was pretty cool. You were checking it out beforehand, so that was cool when you didn't stop by. That is a great community down there, and I am excited to be that we are in the Dallas Fort Worth area because I had never personally been down there for anything really, except flying through. But I'm like, I want to move there. So, much different dynamic than where I'm originally from Minnesota here. Yeah, appreciate all that feedback. But that's our goal with this too, is just to keep building the community and uniting everybody in the sense. Just because we have gyms doesn't mean we have to butt heads and stuff. And one of the things you said, going into these other gyms and looking at other stuff and getting ideas and building from that, like I've built, I'm not even exaggerating, over 30 gyms, Conquer and outside of Conquer. And I still see stuff online. I'm like, oh God, that looks better than what we got. So
Yeah.
it's never done. And that's the progression of Ninja too. It just keeps building like that. Going into Ninja, were you in athletics or sports before that?
Yeah, so I ran track in high school. I was a hurdler and a 400-meter runner. And so that was my main thing. I dabbled a little bit in basketball, but mainly just because my friends were there. So I enjoy those other sports, but my claim to fame was track. And so I was a
Okay, yeah.
sprinter, and so I loved, especially when they had the Ninja versus Ninja racing element to the sport. Like I was like super pumped about that, so I could apply my speed and then also the obstacles and everything. But generally, I was an outdoor kid, was climbing and falling out of trees, yeah, and getting into stuff I shouldn't have been getting into. And so there's like that the athleticism that didn't really have a sport, which is just using nature and getting out in the environment, climbing roofs and stuff like that, is things I used to do as well growing up.
So 11 seasons in now. How do you build up to the show or competing compared to maybe 10 years ago? Like you're
Hmm.
getting your body ready.
Yeah, it's much different now. I'm not training as much. I don't have a home gym right now, which is why we're looking to get Ninja Project up and running. I would say when I was first starting out, I was training quite a bit. Like I was living in the gym. I was still at my personal training job, and so like I had access to a fitness facility, and I was doing the obstacles, and so I feel like my training was better early on. And then now, like I'm trying to build a gym, got more stress, got more
Yeah.
obligations. I'm like training once a week, twice a week. And then I just making sure I'm just good on the course runs. And now the courses on the show are like much more dynamic and time-based timing. And so it's a different breed, but we were able to still train at a high level and like recreate courses to mimic the show and other leagues and stuff out there. And so these the kids that I'm training, all these kids I've been seeing grow up and other teens and stuff, like they're doing crazier moves than I am. And so they're pushing me to stay on my game and keep up with them. And that's really helped me stay sharp and stay fairly decent on my personal ninja skills and abilities.
For somebody who's been a part of the ninja scene for a while now, how do you see the future of the sport evolving? You talked about the shift to speed courses from American Ninja Warrior, right? That's a new thing. You also have this new wave of homegrown ninjas that are just monsters, right? Because they grew up in the ninja gym. So what is your perspective of how do you see the future of ninja evolving?
Yeah, I'm excited just with the new movements being made. As far as like I saw your last show with John Pine, and also worked with the USA National Ninja Association there, and it's very encouraging. So with the speed element, like that's exciting to watch. With the 2028 Olympics, with the pentathlon having ninja in there, I think that's really opening up the doors for the sport. And there's so many different things with like World Premier Series and like the production in these competitions is getting better as well. And so I see this really taking off. I think we're about maybe a couple of years before some more bigger entities get the eyes on where the sport is going and they start putting in some dollars into the sport. Some of these big companies like Under Armour or Nike or stuff like that. I think once we get that access, then I really feel like this could just skyrocket like almost overnight.
Mm. And I don't personally believe big sponsorship is going to be the end all be all for Ninja, but I do think that it will continue to raise awareness of the sport and push it further.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. Like you said, like the awareness is the biggest piece. And then once you get more kids coming in, the demand is higher. Then obviously there'll be a need for more supply and we just get more gyms going. And then who knows where the show is going to be. Like the show is still fun.
Right.
Does have pretty good viewership. It's been going this is the 17th season here. So nothing lasts forever. I think that there's always gonna be something to pick up the torch, but the show does a good job of keeping things entertaining. And then I think just really it's up to the gym owners and the people in the community to keep the sport exciting, keep thinking innovation. How can we make it better? How can we make it better for the people that are watching? Because ultimately that's where it's going to come down to is like the entertainment value that's going to create people wanting to be involved with it. And so a lot of different things I think are going to really contribute to the success and growth of it. But I am excited about all the different moves being made.
You got the show. That's the most popular thing that people resonate to. But how about the leagues, the growth of the leagues themselves? 11 years ago, be one of the OGs, and I've been in the industry for the same. And there was no leagues, there was really nothing. And now it's really growing into, and you talked about that, like the progression of our gyms and the ninjas, like from entertainment to the actual sport now.
Mhm.
And we're seeing the massive growth in the actual sport component of it, where that's where a lot of ninjas have seen it for 10, 12 years. But with the growth of these leagues, what are your takes on that? Do you compete in these leagues?
Yeah. Do you have a preferred league out of the ones that are out there?
I really think that the WNL has done a really good job of just making sure that the quality has always been improved over year by year. And I think Chris Chesky's done a phenomenal job with just listening to the community, listening to feedback, making things better. So definitely World Ninja League really stands out. And then you have the NSC, my guy Ethan Swanson, Chris DeGangi, with Ryan Stratus on the mic. They're doing really good stuff for that competitive side, and I think that's really needed. And so those are definitely the ones that really stick out. And I love some of the kind of the offshoot leagues, like you got Bucket of Chalk that is doing some really cool stuff. UNAA is definitely they're creating these expos where you're getting all these different venues and leagues, entities into one spot, which I think is great. And so it just really, again, brings the value of people getting to do different competitions under one roof. So I think that's really good as well. And those are the ones that stick out. And really, I think that's what we need is we don't need too many leagues. There are a lot kind of coming out. Like I understand that as well. Everybody wants their own thing. And
Yeah,
I wouldn't try to create my own at some point, but people got to start picking and choosing which ones they participate in because there's a
right.
lot of travel involved. But I'm definitely all about growth, making the leagues better, listening to the feedback from the community, like, and you got to give the athlete, the parent, what they want,
Right.
and then it'll keep thriving.
That is the true customer. I feel like a lot of gym owners and coaches seem to forget that sometimes, that the true customer is truly the parent, and they are funding this industry with
Mhm.
their memberships and their comp fees and all of these things. So shout out to you ninja parents out there.
You brought that up too. It's these bigger leagues. They're East Coast, West Coast, wherever
Mhm.
they're at. It does get to be a lot for parents and kids to travel. So it's to your point, you almost got to start picking and choosing because there are a lot of them that are popping up now. Ideally, you got the regional ones, which that's great, but that's where the sport has progressed to, like, there's more options and we have to start prioritizing the ones they want to do.
And
Yeah, absolutely.
not only that, like just the education of the parent, like letting the
Right.
know what these options are, that these things even exist, because there's still so much of that to be done in this industry. And that really does fall on like the gym owner's shoulders of giving the parent the education of what the competitive ninja scene even looks like and how they can be involved with it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's a really good point. Like the education, a lot of people, they just see the show. Oh, it's just a TV show. They don't know that there's a huge community and a sport behind this. And so I think that's one of the key things is to like really get that message out that, hey, this is accessible for any age, skill level. Parents are getting involved more now.
Yep.
And that I think, especially with like content being such a big thing now, I think a lot of the content now should be geared towards letting people get information about ninja, the sport, where it's going. Now, if I have an obligation to do that, I've been slacking, but that's definitely a goal of mine is to get more content out there to share, just to share how cool ninja is and that it is for everybody and everybody can get in and just give them more information on how they can get started. And I think that's really very important.
That's why we're here, the conversation and education for the ninja's way.
Creating content is like creating new obstacles in your gym. It's never enough. So don't get too hung up.
Mhm.
Like if it's up to your coaches, you could never have enough for the right obstacles, and you could never create enough content. It seems.
Yep. That's
I
a fair assessment.
So I would love to chat with you about your faith. And you've done a couple competitions at like men's church groups. Seems like you're maybe targeting that kind of specific niche. Is how do those two things interact for you? How does ninja and your faith come together? And what kind of pushes you towards that?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. And really, my faith is the probably the biggest piece of where I've gotten to right now. Like I make sure like it helps keep me grounded too. Like I've had a decent level of success on the show, and then also like outside the show with from like a business standpoint and opportunities. And I don't take it lightly. I know it doesn't come from just my efforts. Like I'm nothing special. Obviously, I feel like God has given me a special talent to use to give to others, to shine His light, to show love and really just the opportunities like with the men's conference, the church and other things really have just really come to me and really just wanting to work together. And so I feel like that's nothing but just God putting those pieces together and me being open to it and me just always to continue to pray. Still very early, I would say, in my journey. I don't want. I'm still working on my faith and just my day to day praying more, trying to get in the scripture more. But my mom is huge in the church. My stepdad, Josh, is a pastor, and so those things really impact me and just keep me like on the straight and narrow, and just know that I'm here for a bigger purpose. And I feel like I've found my calling with Ninja, and I feel like it's my duty and responsibility to use it and make an impact and like really grow these kids. I'm really about the youth. I want to set them up for success, and I want to make sure that they see a message that is bigger than just the sport, and that's about the faith. And my personal Savior Jesus Christ has given me all the strength, and all the glory goes to Him. So
Thank you
Well
for.
said.
And yeah, I absolutely see Ninja as almost like this Trojan horse that allows us to, like, Ninja is just a vehicle, right? It's a really badass excuse for us to have a relationship with kids. And we already have their time, we already have their attention. Why don't we do something extremely impactful with it, right? Confidence and resilience and persistence and these things that are going to carry them forwards through the rest of their lives. And as gym owners and coaches, like it's like seeing it from that perspective is so important to understand that this is really what we're doing here, right? Like Ninja's a vehicle, but this is at the end of the day, we're preparing these kids for life and to be better, not only athletes, but better human beings. And it's like that's the space that these gyms are able to create for these kids. And I think that people that can understand that mindset can take their programs and provide more value than maybe the average person with a gym down the street if they can understand what they're really doing.
Yeah, no, 100% there. Just to piggyback briefly on that is with these ninja gyms and stuff like that in classes, like you have a space where everybody's together. You can have time to engage with the kids, engage with the parents. There's not too many sports where usually the parent just drops them off and they pick them up, or the parent really can't be engaged in the sport
Right.
as well. But this is where the parent can be engaged with the sport as with the kid. The coach can share feedback and, hey, how can we help with Billy here that's having a trouble on this obstacle, or just going through some mental stuff where he feels like he's not meant to be. And I think really Ninja creates that like safe space where all that can really take place, and that molding and that developing of the youth can really just make an impact. So that's what really it gets me excited each and every day.
Yeah, and even to build on that, some of the biggest influencers are the biggest influence in the sport of ninja have a strong faith. And that really resonates in gyms too. I feel like some of the most successful gyms, it's built around the positive culture, or the culture about growing and not about just winning. But winning is part of growing too, but overcoming obstacles, it's all relative to life. And for us, that culture component's a big one. And it falls in line with that family values and things like that, that really, to your guys' point, resonates to the kids, to the parents, to the family in general. So it's great stuff.
But how did you get the nickname the Big Cat?
I'm glad you asked that. You're asking all the right questions today. We were just training at a gym back in the day with some guys. And so it's a two-part kind of meaning behind it. And so like the first thing is being like the main Dallas guy that kind of really got Dallas on the map on the ninja scene there. And like when we were training and stuff, they referenced me as like almost like the leader in the. And so sometimes you say, hey, that's the big cat right there. That's the guy like in charge. And so that's the first part. That's actually from Tyson, one of my buddies that has competed on Ninja Warrior. He now is the manager at a gym here in the area. But and the other piece is that I'm like one of the bigger ninjas on the show. I'm not like big dog, 6'6", 6'1", and so I'm a bigger competitor. I'm very agile, like I'm good at the balance stuff. Like I can still move pretty well like a cat. And I do happen to actually like cats too. So it all works out really well. But it was given to me by a friend of mine, and that's how it started.
That's
Just
cool.
stuck.
Yeah,
Awesome.
sounds like it's stuck for a lot of good reasons.
Yeah, it's easy because I didn't have to think of it. Like somebody else made it, so it was easy. If it felt good, I was gonna keep it, and it felt good, and here we are 10 years later, and we're still sticking with it.
Are you going to compete again this year on
Yes,
A&W?
We're about
yes,
like
I'll be heading out here in a little bit to compete on the season 17 of the show, and I'm feeling pretty good. And then also you had asked earlier if I'm like still competing, like even outside
Yep.
of the sport as well. And so I've taken about 2 years off from all the different leagues and whatnot, mainly because just haven't really had as much training as I would like to. And especially I still try to, if I was going to compete, I would be competing in the elite leagues and stuff like that. And that is really just taken off. And I'm not
Yeah.
expecting to do a whole lot with going against like Isaiah Thomas and those kind of guys. But I still want to be on like those elite level courses because I feel
Right.
still that I can do those things. But yeah, so thankfully I'll be on this next season here and feeling ready to rock and roll.
I guess my follow-up question that would be, so what's your pre-ritual? What would be a tip for competitors to prepare the day of a competition or the show?
Yeah, really what has helped me out is not only just visualizing the course and going through the different obstacles on there, but outside of that alone, just really speaking just life into myself, like speaking impactful words like I'm going to do well in this course. I'm going to give it my all. How am I going to celebrate when I finish the course? I'm thinking of those things that are going to work well for me. And that puts me in a space where I'm like, I'm ready to go out there and tackle any obstacle. And I'm also like, hey, if things don't go well today, I'm okay with that too. I'm just going to make sure I give it my best effort. And so just a lot of those kind of affirmations and just really you got to hype yourself up. So I would say as a young athlete, someone that's competing, like you got to be your biggest hype man, and you just got to speak it into existence. And then once you do all
Yeah.
that, you'll get out there with a different kind of confidence to take on the course. And I can assure you that it'll go better than what you thought if you didn't do that.
yeah.
That's great advice, actually. That's really good.
Yes, I love it. So we talked about the Ninja Project and we talked about you as a coach. I'd love to talk a little bit about True Chalk, which is your chalk company. So tell us, how did that start and how can I get some? Because I just ran out of my liquid chalk.
Yeah, we obviously with training and coaching, ninjas go through a lot of chalk, and actually one of our students, his dad was wanting to like do something different that he could, like, he's all in the sport, so he wanted to find a way that he could really get more involved with it. He's what better way to maybe just start a chalk line, and so he had the thought of that. And then my buddy Elliot, that I've known the longest time, probably about 10 years, we started True Momentum, which is our like Dallas training community. And after getting with Elliot said, hey, we should just call it True Chalk. Kind of somewhat relates to the brand started in Dallas, but it's just true. And that can be really for anyone. And so True Chalk came about. And so I've partnered up with them, and now we're really just trying to get this out. We got the Ghost Chalk, which is pretty cool. It goes on clear, but it's really good stuff. We're getting a lot of good feedback. People seem to love it. And we just want to make sure that we're just helping give to the sport, whether it's through products or coaching or whatever the case may be. But we're having a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, I actually, so this is last week. I was weightlifting and sometimes the liquid chalk just like explodes and it's like way too much, right? So it's like I got like way too much chalk on my hands. And I was deadlifting and some guy came up to me and he was like, "Oh, that's what I'm missing. Like I'm missing the chalk, right? Because he noticed all my excess of chalk." And I told him about True Chalk. I was like, "Yeah, there's this company that's got this ghost chalk. So it goes on clear and then nobody even knows." And I was like, that's what I need. So that's super cool.
Well,
I didn't realize you had the ghost chalk. That's unique. I like that.
yeah, it's
Keeps
pretty cool.
keeps the gym looking clean too.
Yeah, you would never notice that you had chalk on your hands. And so everybody's trying to keep the jeans clean. The
Mhm.
Ghost Chalk takes it
Absolutely.
one step further with that.
We'll end with this. What does ninja mean to you?
So ninja, what it means to me, ninja means I have the ability to impact others. And through my opportunities on the show, being able to share that with others, to empower others, to help them overcome failure, that's what it means to me. It means impact. And that's what I want my legacy to leave behind is I made an impact. And Ninja has been that vehicle for me to do that.
Great talking with you. Every time I've interacted with you, been super positive. Great ambassador of the sport. So glad you came on.
I appreciate it. Jake, thank you, man. Love the work you're doing. Keep it up. Anything I can do to support you and those efforts, I'm all about it. Allie, love what you've done to really pour into the gyms and in the programs to help those thrive. I think we need more of that. And so I'm thankful for both of y'all, what you do for the sport. And I'm definitely a big fan of each and every one of y'all. And so let's keep it going.
Yeah, appreciate that feedback, man. Get in contact with you. How can they learn about all these things that you're doing?
Yeah, the main spot is just ninjaproject.com, and that'll give you access to everything that we're doing, and also on socials, Ninja Project Dallas, Instagram, and Facebook. So let's say follow the journey and support us, and we'll support you.